to you from the Upmarket studio at Gasworks in beautiful San Buenaventura, California. This is Real VC, a podcast all about Ventura County real estate. My name is Reed Fish. I'm the CEO and a co-founder of Upmarket Media. And my goodness, Katie Connolly, the assistant team leader at Keller Williams, West Ventura County. Katie.
Hey,
hello.
Reed.
Hi. Oh, God, it's just so fun to sit and talk to you.
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
And especially when I have Chelsea right over your shoulder looking at me. Producer Chelsea Froelich, hello.
Hi, guys.
Oh.
Hey, Chelsea.
I'm here.
Oh, thank you. So I am this is a good one today. I feel like we have a really great guest. And now you want to do the intro for the guest.
Yeah. I mean, it's again, kudos to who we know. So today we have a very special guest. We have someone that's not only a broker, owner, manager, very experienced realtor in the community, but they actually won an award for that. So we're so lucky to be here with the 2024 Broker Owner Manager of the Year, Mr. Jorge De Leon. Welcome.
Well, hello. I didn't expect such a warm welcome, but yeah, thank you. Every time that they talk about that, I start going back. It's like, whoa, I've already reached that point where I'm in that category. I didn't expect it, but yeah, thank you.
It wasn't, well, I don't think it was a Lifetime Achievement Award. So you're not like,
Not
you're
quite,
not there yet.
That's true. That'll be the day.
Yeah. That's when you know it's time to hang it up.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But what went into that award? You got that award. How did that happen? What did you do? What makes you so special, Jorge?
Well, I mean, I wake up every morning. I think that's part of the special part. No, it's interesting that you say that, because as being on the committee at one point, what you do is you take into consideration who the members of the public are, especially the members of our association, who make a contribution not only for the advancement of the mission of the Realtor brand, but also what is it that they do for the community. And back in 2013, I was recognized or given the award as a Manager of the Year while I was managing one of the large brokerages here in Ventura. The interesting thing about that is that I was not expecting. It was a total surprise. My wife knew about it. The fact that she was so willing to go to the event was like, oh, okay. Okay, I know that you're a realtor, but you want to go to this event. And I was very relaxed because I was not expecting anything other than being there to support the installation of our new association president, and also saying goodbye and thanking our previous president.
Sure.
So, I want to thank the committee for nominating me, and it's not something that is a self-nominated thing. I think that I feel honored. We talk about how you feel humbled and honored. In this scenario, I felt honored because it's a recognition from our peers as to they felt that I made a contribution towards our community and our association.
Right. So I knew. And I'm the worst secret keeper in the world. I thought you might have known because you were definitely dressed to the nines that night. We joke that the event's kind of like a realtor prom. But what I love about it is little did we know, I think that kind of came at like a perfect time in your life, because then you transitioned into doing something else. So I think it was a great chapter closing. How do you reflect on that?
I refer to myself as the Forrest Gump of real estate. Incidentally, I've been I got into real estate incidentally. It was not something that I was planning on doing. My dream was to move dirt. I wanted to be a civil engineer. My dream was to attend Cal Poly. God had a different plan for me. I ended up being a real estate agent under a small brokerage here locally, which led me into being into escrow, which was really my true passion, second to moving dirt. I just wanted to learn what it took to get a transaction from opened to closed, from showing a house to closed. And I recognized early on, because my mom and dad had entered escrow a couple of times, it was not a successful escrow process. And I was just infatuated with the whole sitting down at a desk and helping somebody become a homeowner. Yes, real estate agents actually are very involved in helping that process, but escrow is where it happens. From title issues to loan documents, meeting with clients, notary, and so forth. I'm wired that way to be a fixer, and that led me to working eventually after being an escrow officer. Now getting my broker's license and then joining a real estate agent or broker that was my client, and then I was infatuated with new home sales. And then I became a new home salesperson. From that point, I was recognized. Actually. That process made the introduction for me to go work for a large broker as a manager. I spent more than 12 years, about 12 years doing that. And then the opportunity to become the president of a real estate brokerage with over at that time, over 1,800 agents. I pared it down to about 1,300. 2.5 years of learning the inner workings of how to run a brokerage from IT to HR, that stuff. 3,500 miles average per month
Wow.
traveling throughout the state. Those were all great learning opportunities. But then now that I have a son in college and a high school student, a middle schooler, and an elementary school student or children, I was longing to be interacting with the client at a much deeper level. So I had made the decision at one point that I should be either transitioning back into sales, opening my own brokerage, because I wasn't getting that ROI as far as my, the feeling of making a positive contribution. So the decision was made for me because I wasn't ready to let it go yet. And the company was merged into with a new owner. And the best part of that is that they had the 7 people in their staff to do what I was doing. So I was doing the role of 7 people. And I'm at peace because I feel that those agents are going to be in good hands. Finally, because it was, to be honest, I was just not cutting it, because how do you take one person, 60, 70 hours a week and then being able to be everything for everyone? So I think that was a good decision for them to be there. It opened up my opportunity to go out there and fulfill what I felt was going to be best for my wife and I.
Yeah, and hopefully spend more time with your family and take that work ethic to sales and just double down for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the biggest thing. Like, you were like at the kind of the top of the mountain, but it doesn't mean you're always fulfilled, right? And it's like you have to, so much of this for any of us is just having, not only is that the work-life balance, but then finding that meaning in your work. And then if you really are, if it is about like just helping people get into homes and like that's meaningful, then man, then you're going to be, I think you'll be happier.
Right. I believe that the season, the shift in the market was a phenomenal opportunity for me to learn. Had it been where the market was just growing, I don't believe that I would have had the opportunity to learn and get that skill. I think that there's other opportunities out there. I mean, you still, it's my job, technically was, kind of a mid-level manager, because a 1,300 agent count is not really that many agents considering what is out there. But I feel that I've been able to develop a skill set to be able to take that. If that opportunity arises, yes. But I think that there's much more to do here in Ventura County.
I say that all the time too, that the past 2 years has been like the perfect time to really learn and have agents coin in on their business. So when it takes off again or warms up and then hopefully takes off, then we have the foundation laid and the skills are already there to really practice real estate at a high level.
Yeah. Well, and I do want to drill down for just a sec, because I feel like this is a great opportunity with you here, Jorge, is like the question everyone always wants to ask, what do you think the market is going to do? Because I entered this year thinking, man, it's going to be really strong. And for us, just in the real estate media world, January and like half of February were great. And then it's kind of slowed down. It's like hasn't been as busy as I thought it would be. And I don't quite know why. Is it uncertainty with our government? Is it, I don't even know. Do you have a read on it?
So, CAR has a phenomenal resource for us real estate agents, so those of us that are realtors. And if you go to the page on every Monday afternoon at 6 p.m., you get a read as to what happened the previous week. And what I've been noticing is that we have been ramping up as far as our listing activity, a 30% increase in a matter of 3 months. An increase, and it's not because the agents are actually working harder. And this is not really a jab at anybody other than sellers are coming to the market because there's changes in their life. So what I am sensing, and somebody asked me the question earlier today. So what's going to happen to the market? Well, the median price is going to go down only because more homes in the entry-level market are entering the market. In the last week, I saw more homes under $800,000 enter the market than I had ever seen in the previous 30 or 90 days. So we're seeing more of those homes coming to market. They're distressed in the sense that deferred maintenance. Some of them, life happens. So you don't have what I'm not seeing is the move-up buyer because they want to move. They're stuck in their homes. What's happening is that we are seeing a lot more distressed property because of death in the family, divorce. Maybe it's just time to remove the property from the rental market because of the pressure that we're having in Oxnard and Ventura, Ojai, of putting rent control issues in place. And then California in itself. It's not as sexy to be a property owner for investment property issues. So I'm seeing those properties coming to market. So it is going to create an opportunity for those that were looking for affordable housing. Yes, I know, $800,000 is not affordable really when you think about the monthly payment, but we're seeing that coming. So whatever the average was for Ventura County, which is $950 as a median price, in our market, it's going to go down slightly. That doesn't mean that the market is actually failing. What it is that we're seeing more entry-level homes coming to market than those that are on the higher level.
Right. And so then, and because you could look at that and you could you could extrapolate without having that piece of information that, well, prices are going down. But it's not. It's just the level of homes that are coming on aren't as nice.
Yeah, just the median price.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little of both, right? So hopefully buyers now have a couple options. So there's not one house in there in 20 people's price range that's available. So then everyone's vying for that house. It, it escalates the price and people are really gonna have options to say, actually, I do want my kitchen to face the backyard, or I do want to have this, and they'll get it, hopefully.
So going back to it's very important for a home seller and a home buyer to really drill down into the data. If they don't want to do it, they should really be questioning their real estate agent as to, hey, can you help me understand what's going on with my market? Because we have that conversation with the seller in the, let's just say, entry-level luxury, $1.2, $1.5 million and above. They're in a different scenario. Then the person that is perhaps a move-up seller that is selling a home in the $800,000 price, you have to look at how much competition now you have. There's now 60 available homes in that price range when 3 months ago there was maybe 15 or 20 in our market, right? So a seller has to be much more cognizant as to what their pricing strategy is going to be, because gone are the days that you can put it for 10% more than what the last home sold for, right?
All right. Well, and I think marketing is going to play a big part in that. And that's what we will talk about after this little break that we're going to take. We'll take this break and then we're going to have our social media sidebar. We're going to talk marketing and then we're going to end with action items.
Awesome. Yeah. Love it.
All right, social media sidebar. We are upmarket.media across all social media. Get in there, follow us. You can see a lot of behind the scenes of this show, or a little behind the scenes of this show. And then also a bunch of the properties that are on the market. Jorge's talking about all these houses. Well, we shot a lot of them. So you can see them on our Instagram. Katie, you love Instagram.
I do. So on Instagram, you can find me at katie.connolly.realtor. You can find my LinkedIn, find my Facebook.
It's a party over on LinkedIn.
It is. And you can find me on your page a couple times too, our podcast page.
Of course. Well, and then Jorge, where are we finding you?
So I have been using the SoCal Broker handle for my Instagram.
Oh, SoCal Broker.
Yeah, SoCal Broker. I've been using that for a long time. Believe it or not, nobody was using SoCal Broker.
Yeah.
So from that, you can, obviously you can find me on LinkedIn, but I have different, through that one, you can actually connect to the other Instagram pages that I have. Okay. I have 2 in Spanish. One of them is specific for Mexico, and the other ones are for local, promotion.
All right. And then don't you have a podcast?
Oh, yes. Thank you for reminding me about the podcast. Yes. I have 2 podcasts. One of them is in Spanish. It's called Emprendimiento Latino en América. It's entrepreneurship by Latinos in America. That's the direct translation. It's designed and geared towards business owners that may be struggling, and how do you set up your business to be able to be as successful? There's a different story at a different day for that. What inspired that? And then the second one is geared towards real estate agents that might be struggling, that want to go from average to extraordinary. It's called the breakthrough, from average to extraordinary. And it's based on the statistics of that only 26% of realtors out there, or real estate agents, actually close a deal in 2024. So how do we get those agents into production?
Right.
Sounds like a good one.
Man. All right. I didn't even know about these podcasts until just a few minutes ago. So I gotta check that out. Not the Spanish one. I don't speak Spanish, but
well, sure. On Audible, you can actually translate it into English.
Oh, all right. Well, maybe I will listen to it then. All right. Okay. And then are you doing much on Instagram? I mean, are you getting leads? I mean, you're just kind of getting your feet back wet into being a day-to-day agent, right?
Yes. So I believe in social media. I believe it's a phenomenal tool if you know how to leverage it correctly. When Facebook came out a couple of decades ago, I studied it to see how I can actually leverage that for marketing myself as a real estate agent. It's a great tool.
Yeah.
Not only for referral business, but also to be able to market yourself. So Instagram is one. I know that TikTok has been a little bit controversial because of,
a lot of things. But I have been able to build my audience in TikTok specifically for the Spanish market, which is a niche that I'm developing. I was not focused on my Spanish niche because most of my clients have actually been non-Latinos when I was in sales. But now that I'm getting back into sales, I'm developing that additional niche, not just locally or nationally, but internationally.
All right.
It's amazing.
Cool. All right. Well, that sums up that. So let's take another quick break. We'll talk marketing and end with action items.
Awesome.
All right. All right, Katie, it's my favorite subject, marketing. And look, this is great because Jorge, you were overseeing all these agents, 1,300 agents. They're all looking to you for advice. And I know it's a giant topic, but do you have what are your pillars of marketing for a real estate agent? I mean, what do you, how do you want to approach it?
Picking a niche and then being consistent. Those are key things. I mean, I'm not talking about things that I don't necessarily apply in my life. I want to clarify indirectly, yes, these 1,300 agents plus, being able to get them engaged is the biggest challenge, right? The statistics show that maybe 10 to 15% are actually engaged in whatever you're sharing with them. And it held true with our group, that 10 to 15% of the agents were actually engaged. As far as their productivity, the same, right? So the marketing piece is something that if you are consistent, we talk about developing a brand, you have to recognize what is it that you are as a brand. For example, what are you known for in your community where people will recognize you for being that? Going back to your red shoes, I can recognize you because of your red shoes. Right. I'm using I have a collection of socks. That's what I want to be known for. And also for wearing sweaters and a vest, right? So that's part of my brand, but part of my brand is also consistency and making sure that my clients are taken care of first. It's not about me, it's about my clients. So whatever your brand is or whatever your focus is, that should be your brand, but you have to market accordingly. So from your Instagram post, from your TikTok post, from your topics of conversation. In my scenario, I have 3 different platforms that I'm developing. May that be the international market. And then I have those that are Spanish speakers here in the United States. They have real estate needs internationally, so that's a different platform. And then I have my local platform, which is helping the community buy and sell real estate. And by local, I'm talking about San Luis Obispo County through San Bernardino County because I've developed that knowledge base of those markets.
You're going to get back to those 3,500 miles for talking like that.
I believe it or not, even though I have not been with my former broker, employer, I'm averaging that still.
Wow. So marketing is such a huge bubble, but what's your favorite medium or what mediums are you going to use forward to convey that brand, whether it's print? We did touch on social media. Is it open houses, shaking hands, combination of 5 things?
It's a
what do you
combination.
recommend?
There's not, if you really want, obviously you have to figure out which clientele you want to take care of, right? But you also have to be nimble as to what is present right now. So for example, there's a lot of clients that are wanting to enter the market, and it happens to be manufactured homes. Average sales price is $200,000. Some people will say, I'll never work on a transaction that is only going to generate me XYZ commission amount. But the reality is, if I do 4 of those, I'll be better off than just focusing and waiting for that multi-million-dollar transaction,
I've
right?
said that for years. Yeah.
Right. So the interesting thing is that while I used to coach people, refer those out because it's going to lower your average sales price, the reality is every single transaction counts, and you don't know which that's going to lead to the next transaction, right? So yes, I'm helping somebody right now in Santa Maria. It's a $225,000 transaction. I'm traveling there to take care of it, but I'm also taking care of a 100-unit rental opportunity in Santa Maria. So, and then I got another listing up there and another buyer. And it's all in different price points, from the $225,000 to the $9 million 100-unit commercial space or rental property. Going back to the nimbleness as far as who you market yourself to, I think that in my particular case, marketing myself as being an expert in multifaceted disciplines, may that be residential or commercial, industrial, is what's going to generate more business for me.
I hear you.
And then are you like, is there, so basically when you're giving advice to agents, like it's really about tailoring it to themselves, right? Because there's no one size fits all marketing strategy, right?
True. That and going back to the agent, is they have to be very honest with themselves, because there's a lot of people that feel that they have to fake it until they make it, and I'm here to say, be authentic until you make it.
Okay.
We need a bell. Ding.
Yeah, exactly.
The authenticity part is, it's okay. I'll give you my wife as an example. She is very authentic with who she is, but she feels that she has to do something different. I'm like, no. I was actually reminded of that today. I serve as the chairman of the real estate fraud advisory team, and it's like, they told me, don't be corporate, Jorge, because you do a good job of being corporate, but there's a side of you that is super kind and gentle. That's the person that we want to see up on stage. I'm like, okay, thank you for the reminder. Because sometimes I have that problem where I feel that I have to deliver based on the product that I'm trying to deliver on, which in this specific case would be the real estate fraud advisory team. And I am always cautious about making sure that I'm delivering accurate information. Going back to my agents, accurate information, because their livelihood is very important, and I don't want them to mess up because I gave them wrong information.
Right. Well, you strike me as a very precise person. I mean, I think it goes in what you were kind of saying, the look that you have. I mean, your hair is always just right. You're you're very refined and precise.
Detail oriented.
And detail oriented. Yeah. And I don't mean that in a bad way at all, So it's like, and I think that's your authentic self. And it is, because I do know you actually to be a warm person, but you are like, I guess I wouldn't have described you as corporate, but like, you're like very.
Well, the approachability part is something that I might be having to work on, right?
Yeah.
I have a tendency of, going back to the reason that I entered escrow, and I have a little bit of I'm a fixer by nature, I think. I want to fix things, and I stopped trying to fix humans because that's a very messy aspect of life. Even my demeanor comes across as being a little stiff sometimes, but it has to, I think that I'm just so concerned about ensuring that whoever I am engaging with, that they get as accurate of information. And sometimes I come across as not being as approachable. The reality is, let's engage in conversation. When I met Katie, and she was someone that was, she was working as a buyer. She was a buyer, but working with a competing, broker. I gave her as much advice on how to be able to make that a successful transaction. And look at Katie; she's now, in real estate and helping lead a team. I take a little bit of credit. I don't go around taking credit, but I think that my contribution
You should.
as
You
sharing
definitely should.
my information to help somebody be successful, regardless if I benefited on that transaction, is very important to me.
Yeah.
That's so refreshing to hear because I do watch the TikToks. I try to stay away. I see these realtors out there pretending to get hit by a car. And I know I've talked about this in other episodes before and just really kind of making a joke out of our profession. So I work really hard to not do that and to teach my agents not to do that. So I'm super excited that you're reentering, production and leveling up because there's a lot of, there's people that do think they need kind of a goofball niche out there. And I don't think that's the way to go.
Well, I'm okay with goofball, but being disrespectful about the transaction and the dignity of the clients that we serve, I draw the line.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the point just to kind of wrap it up is that I noticed this parallel here where you, Jorge, were talking about how you're going to take a $225,000 transaction because you don't know what's going to come of that. And then Katie's saying, oh, Jorge helped me. And he just gave this information and there was nothing, or, I guess you were saying that, but like giving freely to somebody else and doing the work, you never know where it's going to lead. Mm-hmm. So if you give that agent advice, if you help them, even if you're not making money, that's going to turn around and it's going to pay off for you in ways that you can't even imagine. Mm-hmm. The same as this piddly transaction, it might help you sell a $5 million place down the road. And, you can connect those dots.
I believe that when agents say that they're giving back into the community, that's my way of giving back. Mm-hmm. It's making hopefully making a contribution to help somebody be successful in the real estate transaction. Because I believe that if there's stability in somebody's household, financial stability and sustainable homeownership, then my community is going to continue to thrive. Mm-hmm. Instead of going out after a transaction that is only going to benefit me financially, but then it's going to create chaos in the community. Mm. So we lived through that in the early 2000s, right? So a lot of greed happened. A lot of people that didn't care about the sustainability of the marketplace. I myself was a victim of that because I followed the lead of a loan officer. I had no business buying that property. And then it set me back, right? And that's because I believed in somebody. But there's a lot of responsibility that as real estate agents we have, specifically if we are realtors.
Right.
Agreed.
All right. Well, I think that means it is time for our action items. Oh. And so I think, Jorge, you got a good one?
I only get one, right?
Yeah, only one. I mean, sometimes people try to throw in the double.
Often people have two. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm going to focus on one. Take the time to do a self-analysis as to who you really are as a real estate professional or just as a human being.
Okay, that's a big task.
And then from that point on, then develop a strategy to market yourself and develop a brand.
Mm. All right. Self-assessment. I think that is the small actionable thing. Building a brand, that's a little bit of big task, but it sets you on that road.
I think that, with little baby steps you'll develop that brand.
Absolutely. Katie?
Mine was similar to that. I was going to say dive into yourself and think about your goals and where you really want to be. But I think I'm going to kind of follow a different lead of what you said is just really helping others out during that transaction, especially if you are a little bit more experienced. The other person may have another job everyone's different, and to really take the lead in a transaction with a kind heart, not like I'm a boss, and level that person up because it's gonna make all of us as professionals better. You're gonna meet the end goal a lot better by closing that house, making your buyers and sellers happy, and you're gonna have a good relationship with somebody in the real estate community.
There you go.
Yep.
I love it. Okay, mine's super simple. Listen to Jorge's podcast.
That
is my action item. What is the name again?
Cheater.
What?
No, thank you for that. There's two of them, but let's focus on the one in Spanish. It's called Emprendimiento Latino en América.
All right.
And if you go Jorge De Leon podcast, it'll surface.
Yeah. And the other one is called?
Breakthrough Agent from average to extraordinary.
All right, there you go. That's I think that's some money there. I haven't listened to either, so I didn't know they existed, but after this interview, I know Jorge is a very smart guy with a lot to offer.
But I'm learning how to do this myself. I'm autodidactic. The first few episodes, I cannot hear myself. I can hear my. There's a really cool one. I actually interviewed a gentleman who is in the seminary. He's going to be a priest, and he speaks about the biblical support of being a business owner as a way to support your community. That was pretty cool.
There you go. All right.
I have a book on that. I'll send you a picture. I forget what it's called.
Well, Jorge, thank you so much for being here. And Katie, Chelsea, of course, thank you. And thank you, of course, to our listeners.
Yes,
we appreciate you all so much.
I will see you soon, Reed.
Yeah, very soon. And we're going to be back with more Real VC very soon. Thanks a lot, everyone.
Thank you.
Real VC is a production of Upmarket Studios. This episode was produced by Chelsea Froelich and edited by Bethany Diedrich. We'll be back shortly with a brand new episode, but in the meantime, we hope that all your transactions will be smooth. Thank you for everything.